Hello, Patrick, and welcome to UFOs Around the World. Thank you so much for coming on. I am a bit of a fanboy of yours. Since late 2023, I first got onto your research, which I think was on an episode, potentially it was vetted with Patrick. And after researching this topic for 26, 27 years, yours was the research that made my ears go, hold on a minute, that makes actual sense. And it fits in with some of the paranormal activity that's going on. I can sort of see why you may have after reading your book, which is brilliant, by the way, and it's right here. 9.99 Amazon, 24 hours it takes to get here. I'm only halfway through it. I recommend everybody goes and buys it. You spoke about people sort of outcasting you and blocking you and
Mm.
keeping you out of groups, and I can sort of see why. But for me, I'm fascinated with this, and I know many other people will be fascinated with what you got to say. So please, whenever you're ready, just introduce yourself and go for it.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So my name's Patrick Jackson. I'm the author of two books. The first one I wrote back in 2015. That's called Quantum Paranormal: The 21st Century Analysis. That was more about poltergeists and the root cause, about the root cause of poltergeist activity. In that book, I discovered that Type 3 spheres, which are these small baseball-sized spheres, were causing the activity in the buildings. And then the sphere network is the next one along, which has all the good data from that book, and then all the stuff I've found since. So yeah, it's probably it's a very unique book. It's very different from other UAP books because most of the other researchers, they will just go to a location or they go to a story. They'll interview people. They will ask all these questions, and then they'll kind of like find out what happens, and then they write about it. Um, and then they write a book on it, and so forth. And but my approach is very different. I approach it from a data point of view. My It's kind of like relative to my work. I work in like IT. I'm a database engineer, basically like almost like an architect. Um, and I just use the same reverse engineering processes we use at work, really for projects and stuff that I do every day. And I just applied it to the paranormal. Originally, it was
Yeah,
poltergeist.
from reading
It
your book, it seemed like you
was
had a job and you thought, and you had a passion on the outside of your work. And he was like, how
yeah,
can I merge the two things? And you
yeah,
did, and it's fascinating. It really is fascinating how you managed to do that. It's very smart, actually.
yeah. Because all it takes is to notice one or two details, which completely opens up the game. And that was really my mission, was just to see if I could spot something that other people have not. And and that's what I get paid to do. So I thought, well, that's what I'll do it for the paranormal and just see what I'd find. And the result of that is two books. And the first book is the only paranormal book in the world that actually got technical endorsements from engineers and ex-US military as well, Air Force. The second one has only just come out, but I'm sure the endorsements will start coming in. But then the new one is much better, easier to read, and it's much clearer. And it is. I think it's basically a disclosure in a book. Really, it's what it is.
It is very easy to read, and like I said, it's not it's only 208 pages, I think, long, and I'm halfway through it, like I
Mm.
said. And I think I'm getting to the juicy part where you speak about the type one, type two, type three. So I had a little bit of a skip through it just to try and catch myself up a bit.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have done a lot of research on you, and I've just been so excited to speak to you. So have you got like something to show us? Anything you want to go through with us?
Yeah, I have a little presentation just to go through. It takes all the juicy bits from the book and just wraps it into a nice little presentation so you can kind of get your head around it.
Yeah,
And
go
then,
for it.
I shall have a few videos to show you, and then we'll just do questions and then see what you want to do.
Sure, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just share my screen. Okay. See my screen? You go to.
It's a great front cover, by the way. Got to say that.
Can you see the screen? Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Ah,
clear.
okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, so um from the beginning, I've kind of been doing I've been interested in the paranormal and poltergeists and ghosts and stuff like that since I can remember. I grew up in a kind of like a UFO and paranormal hotspot just outside Cambridge, and I just used to see lots of weird stuff, but it just became like normal growing up like that. And in the end, when then one night it was like I remember I was sitting across the park, and I just looked across the park, and there was this guy standing there, and he had like a monk outfit on, and I thought it was like one of the local crazies or something like that. So I just shouted abuse at him for a while, and it didn't do anything. It was just stood there like a statue, and so I had like a laser pointer in my pocket, and I pulled it out, and I started putting a laser on the ground, and it went up his leg, onto his chest, and into his face. And he had his hood up, but his face was completely black. And the laser actually reflected like it was a solid object. It completely reflected. But when I got to the face area, the the laser actually dimmed down to about half to what it actually was, which was weird because it shouldn't do that. And then, but this thing was just standing there in the middle of the field, and I thought this is strange. So I just got up and started walking towards it, and I got within, I don't
Can
know,
I can I just can I just ask you a question? Because obviously I don't get to ask an author usually.
yeah.
When I was reading the book, I thought, was you a naughty child? Because that was quite brave to do.
No, no, not really. No, I just, well, this is like my home village, and I sort of, it's kind of like a part of you. So it's like it felt like someone was in my back garden. So I just went to see what it was. Um, it wasn't like hostile or anything. I didn't sort of get aggressive or anything like that. It was just pure curiosity, just to see what it was. And I got like within say 10, 15 feet of it, I think. And it just disappeared, like dissipated. And that kind of put me on edge a little bit. I was like, what was that? Um, and I happened to go to the local pub, and I just said, I swear I saw like a a guy in like a monk or something across the field. And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's the mad monk. He haunts here." I was like, "What the fuck?" So I was like, I never heard that before, and I hadn't heard it since either, and I haven't seen him since or anything. But that one experience kind of like really woke my brain up a bit, and it just got me interested in the whole subject. And yeah, that was years ago. That was like when I was in my 20s, early 20s.
There was another one as well in your book of the white person. Was it the white? The white?
Oh yeah, that's right. That was when I was little. Because as I said, the area was a bit of a hotspot, so there was a lot of like UFO sightings and lots of ghost sightings as well. But there was one when I was little, and I mean like I was God maybe 12, 10, 12 years old, and I was around my friend's house, and we were on like the climbing frame, and we had like a what we call it in the UK like a den, which is
Yeah.
like when you like in the trees for an opening. And I was just on the climbing frame messing about, and this guy all dressed in white, like complete white, walked out of our den, and I was like, who's that? And I shouted at him. I said, "Who's that?" And this thing turned to look at me, and it had a completely white face. Um, and I remember looking down at it. It was about 5 foot, 5'6", and it had what was really weird was the shoes, because they looked like they were almost like triangular. It was weird. And anyway, so we both ran at him and ran, and he darted inside the den itself, and we got into the den literally like within 5 seconds of seeing him, and there was nothing there, completely nothing there. And this den was all like it was all surrounded by nettles and trees and bushes, and it's not like you could get out very easily. It was you were quite sort of trapped in there. But yeah, he just disappeared, and that was like another funny experience I had. Again,
That's
never
why I
seen
asked you
anything.
if you was a naughty kid, not because of that first one, because instead of going backwards like a normal kid would, you went, "Oh, I'm going after him. I'm seeing who that is
Oh
now."
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I used to chase him, and but yeah, after that, I never saw it again, anything like it again. It was very, very distinct. So yeah, kind of having these experiences growing up is kind of interesting. I remember being around a friend's house as well, and he was like in a two-story house, and he had like the middle sort of area, the middle floor, and we were there one night playing PlayStation, and suddenly you hear like stumping across the ceiling, and I'm like, "Oh, who's up there? Who lives up there?" No one. No one lives up there. It's all sealed. It's all. So there's no one up there. So we went up there and had a look, and there was no one up there. And that was fairly common actually. We used to hear people walking around up there because it's like a wooden floor. You could hear stumping around.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there was just all these little weird oddities going on around the village, and over the years it just kept on, going in my back of my mind really. And that's really kind of how I got just constantly interested in it. And when I was sort of growing up, I was watching a lot of these paranormal TV shows, and none of it made any sense to me. It didn't. None of what they said gelled, or it didn't. Why would a guy come back and haunt a building and just throw things at you all day?
Right.
It
I'm
doesn't
with you
make
on
any
that. I'm
sense.
with you on that.
Yeah, like why? What's the point of that? Because people are generally quite sociable creatures. They'll
Are
try
we
and
talking about
communicate.
most haunted?
Yeah, yeah. Like, that was awful. That was awful.
Yeah.
And
I got into Ghost Adventures at one point as well. I really enjoyed that because they tried to debunk stuff as well along the way. I thought they were slightly better than most haunted, but again,
yeah,
it's the same stuff. It's like copy and paste.
they are better, but again, there's no real investigation. It's basically run into a house, hear some noises and stuff, don't find anything, and then they close the show. And
Yeah.
then they go to the next one, and that's how it just rolls. And it's a money making industry. It's worth billions, so they're not interested in making it, changing the format. Um, I mean, I contacted, I think it's Travel Channel a few years ago, and I showed them about the spheres actually back in, I think it's like 2015, 2016. And they said, "Oh yeah, you're very interesting. Sounds about right." But yeah, they weren't interested in changing anything. So it's entertainment at the end of the day, and it makes money.
And let's face it, if you're right about what you speak about, you are uncovering something that is huge.
Yeah, yeah. So it's they prefer to keep it as an entertainment value rather than anything factual.
Yeah.
It's easier to deal with. So I mean, so to get back to my backstory is so once I left Cambridge, I moved to London and I got into like IT database developing, working in central London, mostly work in accountancy and media firms. My core responsibilities are mostly spotting issues before they happen, reverse engineering complex problems before and after they occur. I mean, one example was like a private bank database that kept on crashing. I got flown to one of the, I think it was Jersey, and the database kept crashing after a certain time, and it kept paralyzing the whole bank. So they were really upset, and so we got there, and I noticed that there was a time signature to it occurring. It always happened just after 9 a.m. And what I found out was that someone was running a query against a database that was returning such a huge data set that it was actually overloading the buffer inside the SQL box, which means that it kills all the services and it just stops the server dead. With no errors or anything, it just stops it dead. And then once we spotted that behavior, you can then fix it. So once we kind of figured that out, we could then work around it and start figuring out how to fix it. But that's kind of what I do. Is kind of I look for patterns, behaviors, time frames, things like that. You don't in reverse engineering, like you don't really need to know every aspect of everything. You just need to be very good at pattern recognition. Um, and then you can start cutting through the mud and then finding the underpinning issues that way. Yeah, and that's just basically what I do.
Fantastic.
So, so the past few years, I've been presenting lots of videos and images of the UAP spheres in action. About a year before the UAP hearings in America, the US, I shared a working model with Senator Gillibrand, and she was all very, interested at first, but then the door shut and didn't hear anything else. But interestingly enough, when the hearing did happen, they were talking about spheres. Uh, So, I don't know how deep my diagrams went, but it certainly hit a nerve somewhere. The truth is the spheres themselves are account for 52% of all UAP sightings. And I think the government is in a very difficult position.
Can I ask you a quick question on that while you're on that bit part there?
Yeah.
Do you know how far back in time in our history they was recorded from? Like the first recording of a sphere?
Well, you can do better than that. You see, the Type 3 spheres themselves, the small ones, the baseball-sized spheres, they operate in buildings, and they're the root cause of poltergeist activity. So all you had to do is Google when was the first proper recorded instance of poltergeist activity, and it goes back to the first century.
Right.
So these things have been here forever. Uh, you know, um, yeah. So
Interesting.
they this kind of like explains why the government is like in a very difficult position because they don't like what they can't control or they can't tax. So um, generally, what government they can't control, they generally ignore. So I think the actual game in this, the strategy in disclosure itself is to let civilians piece it together, and that actually is the best option forward because you have two groups of people on this planet. I mean, you basically have reactive people and you have non-reactive people. So what that means is that, like for example, COVID, when the government announced COVID and all that issue, the reactive people went out and bought everything in the shops and hid themselves in the houses and didn't and locked the doors and didn't leave for like 3 years. Um, while the
Toilet roll
non-reactive
gate.
people, yeah, well, all the non-reactive people were a bit more down to earth about it and just dealt with it. So that's really the issue is that you have you reactive people and non-reactive people, and when you look at the world itself, most of the world is more reactive than non-reactive. So especially in other cultures as well. So disclosure is really a difficult thing to do because a lot of our resources are dependent on reactive countries. So on one hand, you have this elephant in the room, and on the other hand, we're trying to keep things going safely. So that's really by allowing a civilian to come up with a theory like this, like mine, for example, and just getting it out there. The non-reactive people will look at it and look at the data was presented, and they'll say, "Yeah, he's probably right." Okay, fine. And the non-reactive people will just won't even read it. And so then the next day will be just another day, and nothing will change.
Their loss.
Yeah, yeah.
Their loss, pal. Their loss. Let me tell you that.
So so over the years, like for instance, Gary Nolan, he identified that I spotted these spheres and these images going back decades. Um, which makes it a very powerful tool for verifying historical and modern images because there are images out there that have been in the public domain for a long time and just regarded as hoax. But when you look closely, you can see the spheres surrounding them. So that means that they're actually legit.
So I was just reading that there. So as Gary, did you say Gary Nolan? Have you spoken to Gary Nolan?
Oh yeah, yeah. We were speaking for a few years, um, and the thing is that yeah, he admits that, and he's made it public as well that I noticed these spheres flying around or surrounding other UFOs, UAPs, and they always do it in the same formation and in the same way. It's the same process, which we'll get into later. But yeah, he acknowledged it, and he asked me to write him a technical paper on it, which I did. So we'll get into that later as well.
Ah.
So yeah, now with the author of the Sphere Network, which has been reviewed to be in the top 5 UAP books in the world. Um, this one right here, and these are the reviews. So outstanding. Nail has been hit firmly on the head. Uh, the Sphere Network, most important UFO book written since Passport to Malagona.
My review will be on there once I've read the book, and it will. If it's like it is, there's 20 chapters, and I'm on chapter 11. It's a brilliant book
Yeah,
so far. It's one of those books, if you're a researcher, you can't just read it. You have to do a bit of research on that bit. I have to let it go into sink into my brain. I can't just read a book dead quick. I'm not like that. And
yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair to you, I'm not a massive book buyer. So the fact
Mm,
that I've actually bought your book says everything about it. I'm actually really interested in your research. I'm not interested in these stories and these second-hand stories from these whistleblowers. I'm interested in someone that actually gets his boots on the ground and does some
yeah,
actual hard research into this.
yeah. That's how you do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you
And
do
that's
it.
why I
It's
respect you and I really do like this book and I think people should just take £10 out, it's just, a bottle of vodka and buy a book and have a read of it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a brilliant book.
So really, I mean, as I said, it all started for me like looking at the paranormal stuff. And my goal really was to try and figure out what was going on with poltergeist activity. That was my primary kind of mission. Um, and I was watching all these TV shows, and none of it made any sense. It was just too much woo, not enough logic. It mathematically made zero sense. For example, like in the UK alone, 1,800 people die every day, but it's not like 10 new locations suddenly become active. The same buildings that were active 5, 10 years ago are the same ones today. Nothing's changed. So the idea that paranormal activity is actually connected, or poltergeist activity, to be specific, is actually connected to human death rate, is the numbers just don't support that. However, we have an entertainment industry that connects it to it, and it's really not really the correct way of doing it. So yeah, I kind of figured like, well, if I can do this reverse engineering at work, then let me just see if I can spot anything with the paranormal, and that this is really the journey of it all. So right here, this is 30 East Drive. This is voted
50
the
minutes
most.
from me. I really need to go to this house.
Oh
Patrick,
yeah,
please invite me next time you're up this way.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
will I
sure,
will spend 24 hours, 40 hours, whatever you want. I will do
yeah.
whatever you ask me to. I will be your servant. You can put me in any part of that house and I will stay there. And I will do whatever you want me to do to get some evidence of any activity going on in the house. I will 100% do it and document it.
All right, all right. So yeah, I asked Mick West to come here actually, and
Oh,
he refuses. So yeah, a lot of people in this game, they talk the talk, but they don't really walk the walk. And this is the problem. They all talk, but no one actually gets their hands dirty. No one wants to go and check things for themselves. So anyway, yeah, this is 30 East Drive. It's actually voted the most haunted house in the UK, and it's brilliant because it's so small. All of the activity, all everything happens up here in the
what do the neighbors say? Like, is that house occupied, the one next door and stuff like that?
this one. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. And now and again they have stuff happen in that building as well.
It's just insane. It's like thinking like that's the most haunted house in the UK, and the people
Mm,
next door must be thinking, why are they getting all the attention and we're not? We're next door to
yeah.
it and stuff like that.
So the way you got to look at this is so this building here is actually very important as well, and I'll get into that in a minute. This is like a side part of the building. That's the front door right there. And all the activity generally happens up here and down here. And I'll show you why in a minute. So yeah, my background with this is I back in 2015 I spent 4 nights at 30 East Drive, and well, yeah, and and at the beginning I wasn't sure what to make of it. It seemed like a just a fun old building. It didn't really do anything for me. I just like, well, what could be going on here? It doesn't make any sense. But then I'll show you this happened right here. I'll send you this link, and you can edit it in. Oh
Can you play that link?
no, I've got to select it. Let me just try and select it. I don't know if you get a lag. I don't know. You could try it.
No, it's fine if you can.
Uh,
If you can play it for us, that'd be great.
Here we go. Yeah, so that is the coal shed door banging. And this is
I
actually a
couldn't I
common.
couldn't hear any banging then. I
Oh,
don't know
you
if
couldn't.
it's
It's probably something. Yeah, it might be to Zoom. You might have to send it yourself. If I send you the link, you'll have to play it yourself, I
so
think.
what was happening in that video? There was banging on that door.
Yeah. So this is what I call the diversion process. So let me send you this link. Uh, where's the chat? Where's the chat? Chat. Can you send me a hello on the chat so I can see the box coming up?
Yeah. Chat's at the bottom there, so if I just type in a hello, there you go. You should have a message on your right hand side. The
Ah, yeah.
chat's actually at the bottom where it says participants. The chat's next to it.
Got it. So this is the video here. So just edit that in.
Right, yeah, I've got the video in. So you want me to put that in the video, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want me to do that now or do you want me to do it when I do the edit?
Oh, you do the edit if you want. Yeah, I'll just
Yeah,
carry on
I'll do it
talking.
in the edit. I'll do it in the edit.
Yeah.
So,
So what happens is that the cold shed door itself will bang eight times, and that process actually is not unique. It occurs a lot of the time. It happens like once every couple of weeks, and lots of people have reported it before and since we were there. And when you see this kind of event, it means it's a constant, which means it's like a specific action for a specific reason. So that's how, like in IT, you perceive things. It's like there is an action, it's for a specific reason, and it is occurring constantly. So it's a signature. So yeah, I mean, it might happen on a Monday, and then nothing will happen for a week, and then it will happen again. And well, what I noticed was that all these patterns in the building while I was there, because it wasn't just this, we also had like weird electronic issues. My brain started swelling in my head. I had there was lots of like strange issues with the cameras, uh, many things. But the thing is that what I noticed was that the behavior patterns were not human behavior patterns. Instead, they were like mechanical, like computer, like process driven actions.
would you say it was like clockwork? It works. And like I noticed in your book, you had multiple locations, different haunted houses,
Yeah,
and you were doing these relay tests, weren't you, of these
yeah,
things?
yeah.
Um, which leads me to a question: have you done a synchronized thing at these multiple houses where you've got teams of people at these locations on the same night in communication with each other to see if we can actually get something?
In theory, yeah, it would work. But have I done it? No, because these buildings are very expensive to rent out over here. It's like £400, £500 a night per location. And then on top of that, because the paranormal community aren't very fond of my work, not many people want to help me. So it's a bit tough.
I can help you. I know many content creators that would, and from the UK, that would do that. I've got friends now that are at Pentuck with Kaz Clark researching the UFO Pentuck incident. You know that area.
Oh, right,
They
yeah.
would love to spend a night in a haunted house. Let me tell you that. I've got many friends that would help you, and we could do that 100%.
Yeah, sounds good. I would that would be really good. But let me show you this. So let me just go to full screen on this. So this here is inside 30 East Drive. Now, this little staircase is actually where all the weird stuff happens. And if you actually walk past these two steps here, you feel dizzy. Every time you feel a bit weird and you feel a bit dizzy. Um, and if you get your meters out, like your EMF meters, you'll notice there's a very high energy source right here, which moves around. Even if you turn all the power off in the building, it's
What's
still there.
above there? What's above that area there?
It's just a bit of attic
Bit of
and a
attic,
bedroom.
a bedroom.
Yeah. So this electronic emission, it moves around. So it appears to be operating in the attic. Yeah, attic area. That's how it models out. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now this is an image we got hold of. So this is what I saw in the building, and also what other people see in the building. And it looks like a vertical black mass that moves around in a very digital way. So it moves without weight or resistance, and it moves at a very set rate. So it just moves around like this, real digitally. And when you see that, it's like that's just strange, you know. Um, yeah, it moves very computer-like, should we say? But people see these a lot. This is actually this type of sighting is it's called a black mass, and
So yeah,
it's
so after reading your book, what you're showing here, I think in your book you say that this is some sort of cloaking device for these spheres. Is that right?
that's right. Yeah, I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, but this is actually most commonly seen in attics and basements all around the world, and it's the same thing. So this is another image of that black mass passing through the hallway. And if you look closely where the arrow is right here, you can see something right here. It looks like a little ball, 3/4 of the way up. And it just stood out because there's nothing else in the noise that looks normal. It looks just like noise, but right here you see like a little ball.
Yeah,
And that's
funnily
what.
enough, you can actually see it better in your book.
Yeah.
It's actually clear in your book what you're explaining there. But yeah,
So right here, this is another image I got hold of. So this here is the small silver sphere that's hovering off the ground in the building. And this when I saw this is like my eureka moment, because I realized that this is like the missing link, because what you're really dealing with is a drone. There's a small silver sphere that's operating in these buildings, that's using like advanced stealth and propulsion and signaling technology, and it's like a transponder, and it will switch on and off. And when it switches on, it causes diversions around the house to move you away from itself. And we'll get into that a bit more, but that's what it appears to be. And here's some more images of it. So this is it here, and you can see from the trail, and this has also been seen at Skinwalker as well, because it's the same thing everywhere. And they all have this signature, which is like a trail following it. And you can see here this trail following it as it's going towards the door, and then it's right here. It stops, and then here it takes a right, and then it comes back again, takes another look at you. Now this here is the same example from 1903, where people are seeing these orbs flying through buildings, and they used to call them well, they didn't know what they were. They just called them spirit lights and stuff like that. But in fact, they are these type 3 spheres, and that's how long they've been here for.
and is that image there of a real event that
Yeah,
happened?
yeah,
Was that
yeah.
of a real event?
This is like this is drawings of depictions of what happened back in those days. Obviously, they yeah, and there's quite a few of them. And if you look at this one here, you can actually see the resemblance. So again, you got the type 3 sphere, which is a small one, hovering about 3 or 4 feet off the ground.
So just explain to me quickly then, because that's the bit I'm not on with your book yet. Type 3, what exactly is that? Just define type 3 in like 3 bullet points for me so I can.
So the type 3s are the small baseball size silver balls, silver spheres, AI-based drones, and they operate loads of the grounds and inside buildings.
Right, okay.
And this is multiple examples of them. So yeah, this one here is in a field, just hovering off the ground. And in this state, it's like in a high energy state because it's glowing. What it's actually doing is it has a propulsion system that it energizes the gas molecules around the shell. And the result of that is photons. So you get this real beautiful kind of glow off it. It's the same process as natural lightning, but this is done in an artificial way. And as you can see in these other depictions here, that's exactly what this is. You see this here. This is flying through, also flying through walls as well, which is exactly what these things have been seen to be doing. In fact, these things are the Foo Fighters. Back in World War II, these things used to fly inside the planes and fly around inside the actual planes themselves and then leave. So they can do this transmedium effect, or what we call quantum tunneling, which means that they can pass through solid objects. So this one here is obviously in a field. This is the historical depictions of it. This one was here in another field in the UK. In this case, this one's powered down, so it's kind of like in a lower state of energy. This base,
Do you have the locations in the UK just for the interest of the people that watch it? They might be interested in where these
yeah,
are
yeah,
in the
that's all
UK.
in the book. Yeah, I put all this in the book. It's I can't remember off the top of my head. I've been through it so many times. But this one here is in the UK, in the England. This one I believe is in America. This one here is in Skim is in 30 East Drive. So you can see it's the same object, same small silver little sphere, just whizzing around very at low altitudes as well. So you got to ask yourself, like, okay, so from an IT point of view, from a technical, point of view, like, why are these small spheres inside buildings, and why are they performing physical actions, and why are people getting physically affected? So, like all advanced drones, they need three main things to work. One, it needs to send and receive signals. Two, it needs a network, and three, it needs AI. And AI is key to this because the key to repetitive actions, like for example, the door banging, because that is a process. So something happens, it needs to do something, and it will bang a door to move you away from itself. So if you study poltergeist activity around the world, you'll notice that they all have the same behavior patterns. They will bang doors, they will throw objects, they have strange electrical effects. They'll even catch things on fire.
That
Because they,
terrified me. I read that in your book.
yeah,
That terrified me. The
um,
human combustion.
yeah.
Speak
So,
about that. I'm sure the people would want to hear about that. That terrified me in your book.
oh yeah. So, we'll get into that in a minute. But so basically, it's the same AI model that's pulling from the same library of pre-coded actions. So what it has is like it sees an observation, and then it has a list of actions that it can use to to move you away. So the the question is like in this case, like the first one here, uh, does it need to send and receive signals? And so the question is like, did I find a transmission? And the answer to that is yes. So what I did was we managed to sample the data transmission that this thing is using, and it maps out to be an 18-bit code using 2 bits for synchronization. So this here is the synchronization right here and here, and then this here is the actual data packet itself. So um, not only have we got pictures and videos of these small spheres inside buildings, flying around fields, all low to the ground, flying through walls and so forth, we also got their transmissions as well. So the next thing you look for is like, okay, it's a drone and it's doing transmissions. It now needs a network. So I went looking for a network. So how do you do it? Well, you map all the haunted locations in the UK, and you determine the difference between them by activity level. So the ones you have here mapped are some of the most highest activity in the UK. So what you're looking at here is it actually, this is replicating a point-to-point microwave-based relay system. So what it's doing is that these small drones are doing transmissions, and they're relaying to each other across the country. And it appears to be using burst relaying. So it comes online, it does its transmissions, and then it shuts back down again. And that's what it appears to be. And the thing is that it's using microwaves because microwaves travel in straight lines, and it's secure. So unless you're actually in the line of sight as it's broadcasting, you won't detect it.
So what's special about them locations though?
Well, it's a network. So the network will have to go where it has to go. And if you look at this, all these areas are a similar distance apart. So
Yeah.
if you look at a microwave based relay system, this is exactly what it looks like. So if we go back to like the door banging itself, this is evidence of artificial intelligence. So, for example, this here in this down here, this is where the sphere is operating. It's in the attic above the stairs because that's where we're getting the high energy emissions that come and go. And then that noise, that video you saw was this door here banging. So you say to yourself, okay, so what is this? What's going on here, right? So, okay, so the drone is doing a broadcast, it's doing a transmission. So what we can tell from what we've measured is it's using microwaves and gamma radiation uh, transmissions. It's transmitting on a microwave level, but it seems to be a byproduct of gamma radiation. So what's happening is that this thing up here will come online. It's like a transponder. It will come online and it will say, okay, I need to transmit. And then what will happen is if there's people around here, it will bang the coal shed door. Everyone in the building will then go rushing down to see the coal shed door banging, which means that now it has room to transmit, because this is all in line with the inverse square law of radiation, where the more distance you are from the source, the safer it becomes. So in this case, when these people are all down here, the radiation will go through 1, 2, 3, 4 walls before it reaches them. And the thing is, this is when I got brain swelling, because I didn't move. I stayed up here when this was going on, and that's when my brain started swelling. And you only get that, well, to replicate that is a gamma radiation pulse.
Wow.
And again, this is actually also to do with spontaneous human combustion. This is how it models out. Is that the reason why they're doing these diversions to move people away is because obviously the further they are, the more protected they are. And I think if you happen to be in the vicinity of it and you are unlucky, then you get the full pelt of the signal, which would replicate spontaneous human combustion, because you're dealing with high energy gamma radiation, high energy microwaves, which would just pop you like that.
Do you think that would happen if the actual type 3 was like going through you, like through your body physically, like going through you, and it did that? That would cause you to combust.
No, it's just a directional signal. So
That's
yeah,
terrifying if that's true, man. If that's terrifying, right?
and that's why when you look at these images of people who have had this spontaneous human combustion occur to them, they're actually sat in the chair, and their hands aren't like this or like this trying to fight the fire. They just sit here relaxed, and they're literally burnt out, which means that it happens so fast that they can't react. So that's what I think this is doing. So this here is a video, a still from a video I found on the internet, where again they were getting poltergeist activity and also all these electrical effects, and they pointed the camera up to the attic, and they see this thing hovering just in the attic, which is the Type 3 sphere.
Is one sphere more dangerous than the other?
Um, yeah, I would say so, but the other two groups keep away from us. It's only the Type 3s that are low to the ground, which are close to us.
Right.
Um, so this is a good example here. So I theorized and we recorded microwave and gamma radiation bursts in 30 East Drive. It's broadcasting on 1.6 gigahertz and 1.72 gigahertz, which actually is the same as Skinwalker, what they found on Skinwalker. So this other guy, Jim Sigala, he did a similar thing. He put these sensors inside buildings where the people living in the buildings were having weird paranormal-like effects. And this is exactly what he picked up. You got microwave bursts right here and gamma radiation bursts right here, which is the signature of, as I said, of Type 3 spheres. So the physical effects of gamma radiation. So low dose gamma radiation has various physical effects on the body and mind. Nausea and vomiting, fatigue and tiredness, headaches, dizziness and fainting, skin redness and irritation, decreased appetite, weakness and lethargy, cognitive impairment, and changes in mental function, all of which are common, what people experience in what we call haunted houses. So when people are like in these buildings and they faint, or when you see them on these TV shows and they faint, it's not because the spirits are attacking them. It's because they're getting hit with gamma radiation pulses.
Just a question that I forgot. You know that them locations you had on the map before, those
Mm.
haunted locations, have they just got? Are they like you have to rent or you have to pay to go to those locations, or have they got like people living in them?
No, you have to pay to go into them.
So that's suspicious in it a little bit that these have
No,
all
it's
been.
it's just that the owners they can't rent them out. No one wants to live there,
Hmm.
and they've got a very public story of paranormal activity going on, and then they just say to these groups, well, if you want to go and check it out, you can rent them out. 30 East Drive has been active for like 40 odd years. and it's had films made about it. It's had multiple priests going to it. It's had multiple really good videos of what's going on there.
There was one thing with East Drive. Do you remember the Most Haunted Live? I think they did it there.
Oh
They,
yeah,
they
yeah.
faked that. Did you see
Oh
it?
yeah, completely. Yeah,
Where he
yeah,
threw the knife, didn't he, onto the bed?
completely.
That
Yeah,
was the one. Yeah, I just lost interest with that show. Then after that,
yeah. Because the thing about these TV shows is they have one night to film.
yeah,
And the thing is, if nothing's going on in because if they're not if the transponders are switched off, if nothing's happening, nothing will happen. And so for a TV show, something has to happen. So they end up faking it.
I'd
Um,
really love for you to be able to synchronize this at all them locations,
yeah,
multiple
in
to
theory,
try
you
to,
can.
like a
Yeah,
full week to see if you can get like a clockwork of
yeah,
what happens at these locations at certain times, and maybe we can see a pattern going up, just find a pattern about a bigger. I think that was what I was thinking when I was reading your book. I'm like, I need to ask him this. Can
mm,
I get involved in this? Can I help get more people involved? And we'll go to these locations and we'll document it and stuff like that. I'm excited. I want to do that.
yeah.
I
We
want to
can
help
figure
you.
that out. It's a little bit tricky. What you'd have to do is you'd have to come up with an array of sensors in the buildings, which will be kept in there for say maybe a month. And then that would all have to feed a database. And then what you'd do is you would take that data set, and then you'd use something like AI against it to find patterns. And that's how you would do it.
We've got to do it. We've got to do it,
Mm,
Patrick. We've
that's what
got
you
to.
have
Why
to do.
not? We've got to do it. You're clearly onto something here. Let's carry on and let's get people involved. I want to help you. I'm sure I can
Mm.
get people to help you as well, and we can get the word out there.
So the interesting thing is like the neighbor, for example, she suffers from constant migraines in her head. And I said to her, when you leave the house, do they go? Do they disappear? And she like, yeah, it all disappears. And then she goes back to her house and she gets migraines again, which is consistent with like microwave transmissions, or in radiation exposure as well. You keep getting these headaches. Um, but I've told her, but she believes it's a dead priest. So yeah, the baseball size type 3 spheres appear to create like a dynamic network, what moves around to its needs. And what it appears to be doing is using the building itself to help absorb the electronic signatures and mask the gamma radiation bursts. They're using AI and pre-coded actions to move people away. And this has been misinterpreted as evil spirits or ghosts over our history. It actually depends on the building type, and they will operate in two of the main areas. It'll either be the basement or the attic. It depends on the electromagnetic absorption rates of the building. And because it's burst relaying, it means that this network is actually undetectable from the sky. Because they're operating in buildings and it's burst relaying, it all blends in with background radiation. So it's a very stealthy data network that the upper levels of spheres depend on. And this is why, yeah, in a nutshell, you have a very stealthy AI-based network that can move around to its needs while keeping the general public at bay using scarecrow-like actions. And the great thing about scarecrow actions is that they transcend languages. So they don't have to learn the local language of someone. They just perform the same action and they get the same response. So this is why the mainstream paranormal researchers have got nowhere in the last 80 years, because they're completely looking at it completely wrong. And that's where we are. So this is the logical model that I gave Senator Gillibrand about a year or before the year before the American UAP hearings. And this is how the sphere network models out in a very simple way. So right down the bottom here, you have the type threes, and this line at the bottom here represents the ground. So the type 3 spheres are only a few feet off the ground, maybe 5-10 feet off the ground, operating in buildings. But also they don't just operate in buildings, they will operate anywhere that will shield the electronic signatures. So that includes under bridges, in holes in the ground, in caves, anything that they will shield their signatures, they will use. But when it routes through populated areas, they will use buildings. And like any network, it will go where it needs to go. Some areas of the network are fixed, while other areas are more dynamic. So this explains why some buildings will become active. Buildings that are new and had no history will become active overnight for maybe a week or so and then stop, while other buildings will be active for 50, 60 years non-stop. It depends on where the network is and how it's operating. So what these things do, the type 3s, they signal up to the type 2 data relays. These are the ones that the US government is talking about over Iraq and Afghanistan, over America as well. A lot of
Was this like
sightings
the
reported in the
Boogosphere?
US. It's something similar. Well, the Boogosphere is in my from my experience is a fake, but there are many examples of the real ones flying above street levels, above treetops and houses, and this is what the flight signature is very distinct. Is they fly generally quite slow and low to the ground, and they will hang around for a while and then they'll fly off. And what they appear to be doing is signaling up to the type 1D formations, which are larger variants of the spheres. These ones are about the size of a beach ball, and they operate in these triangle formations. So what you
What's the
have is
purpose
this.
of the triangles? What's the reason for that? Do you know?
Yeah, we know this. So this is using a process called trilateration, which we'll get to in a minute. Because by looking at the formations that they're using, you can actually mathematically reverse engineer what they're doing. And therefore you can figure out their mission. But we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, so what this is doing, the type 3s, because they're using a low energy network, when they relay up to type 2, which is why the type 2s are quite low to the ground, because they have to pick up this network down here. This is then amplifying that data link up to the type 1V formations. So this, as I said, this is only a few feet off the ground. This is about 200 or 300 feet off the ground. And but these can be, 5, 6, 8,000, 12,000, 30,000 feet up in the air.
So
So
do you think there's going to be types that you've not yet discovered, like a type 4 maybe that's outside or underneath, maybe underneath the ground?
there could be a type 0 that I've recently kind of thought discovered, I suppose, is they are space-based ones. They operate in space. And we have misinterpreted them as stars. But
And
we'll get to
could that be what Beatrice maybe have come across in her findings with these transients?
potentially, yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So yeah, this is how this is working. So here are some examples. I'll send you these links and you can edit them in. And the last one here, the daisy chain, is really interesting because what they're doing is so what these things are doing is that depending on the distance between let me just do
You can
this.
open them up if you want. If you can open them up, or did it play something? You can open them up if you want.
I don't think it's coming through. I don't think it's coming through on the. Let me try. Can you see that?
The page isn't available.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, now it's on. Yeah, it's coming on. Tubacabra.
Okay, so that's one of them. Let me just grab this one. Come on.
Yeah, it's just the middle one we can't see. The first and third one we can see.
Yeah. Here we are. Right,
Yeah,
cool.
got it.
Right. So let me start fresh. Pause. pausing. Okay, well, anyway, so here are the examples of the type twos. This one here is actually following an A10, and you can see it's trolling it. This is actually fairly common. They do seem to be a little bit playful sometimes. Uh, this one here is another good one. And as you can see, it's again, it flies very low to the ground. It's generally over mountainous areas. Because it's a line of sight system, it has to map around obstacles. So if over mountains, you'd have one at the bottom and then one at the top, and then one, to the other mountain and down again. It generally ground hugs to keep the signal low, which means it keeps it undetectable. But as you can see here, there's like a lensing effect as it moves along. Yeah, and that's a typical type 2.
So would there be a way to monitor these, like to capture them if they wanted to? Could if they knew how these work, like disable them somehow in the sky and make them fall?
Well, they've been trying to disable stuff for a long time. It doesn't work. So maybe one day, but not the moment. But what they also do is a thing called daisy chaining, and this is it here. So if you see here, you see like one here, one here, one here, and one here. And what they're doing is a networking process called daisy chaining. So when they need to map over large areas, so like over mountains or hills like this, they will actually daisy chain over it. Or if it has to go really high up in the sky, it depends on the distance between the type 3s in the buildings to the type 2 and the V formation. So it depends on the range. But yeah, as you can see, he's using this daisy chaining process.
Where's this footage here, the one that you're showing now on the screen? Where's this one recorded? Does it say? Okay.
There, right
Popo Mount Popocatépetl. I don't even know where that is. I've never even heard of that one before.
there. Sure. I get sent so many that, in the end, I just see the patterns. So let me get to the next one.
I think it's good that you put a thing together like this because I'm sure it's like repeating yourself over and over again. At least you've got
Yeah.
something there that you can.
So yeah, here's the type 2s. So this is what people are seeing. They're like the silver spheres about the size of beach balls, and they will hover above the tree line, over buildings and so forth, just like you just saw in the videos. So yeah, they're approximately 50 to 30 to 50 centimeter in diameter. They are slightly smaller than type 1s, which are a lot bigger. The behavior, type 2 spheres are observed to daisy chain over and around environmental elevations, such as hills and mountains. This pattern suggests they're using a line of sight microwave-based communication network, which to coordinate with other spheres. This is the real interesting one. Now, this is the type 1s. These are the type 1 V formations. Approximately 2 or 3 meters in diameter. They create a distinct V formation in the sky. It's like a locked triangle that moves around like as one. There's two main formations, the vertical formation and a horizontal formation. The vertical configuration is like this one, where it's like the triangle is up on its side like this, and then you have a horizontal one where the triangle is flat in the sky like that. So this is how it looks. So it maps out. So this one was taken over Italy. And again, you see the type 2 relay, which is right here. And then you have a type 1 V formation, which is right here. And then you got the same process again, type 2 relay right here. And then you got the type 1 V formation right here. So which maps out like this. So you have the type 2 here and the type 1 V formation.
Where do these things go when they've done the job?
I have no idea. No idea.
Are they ultra terrestrial? Do you think? Do you think there's some extraterrestrial? Do you think it's both? Mind
So
blowing.
it models out that this stuff is controlled from the ground up, which means that they're probably deploying from the ground.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And this is what it's doing. So this is some serious work that I did. It took me quite a while. But so what you have the Type 3 data network. This is the ones that are in the buildings, and they all link together. to create a network. Then they link up to the type 2 relays, which is here. Then what they do is they daisy chain onto the other relays, which is then local to the type 1 V formation. And then what they're doing is they're looking at a target right here. So what this whole process right here is doing is a thing called trilateration, which is a mathematical process to target objects in space. So it's high resolution targeting system. So what it's doing is that this here, these are type 1s are doing this calculation up here. And what they're doing is that they're tracking this object in 2 dimensions. And then this one here is doing a distance calculation. And when you fuse all this data together, it basically creates a 3D tracking of objects in space.
Wow.
And in fact, the way that this operates, so the further apart this triangle is, the further it is. So it says here, many trilateration systems use a baseline to range a ratio of 1 to 10. The distance between each sphere is 100 meters. The system would likely be optimized to track objects to distances around 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer. So for every for every 1 meter is about 1,000 is 1 kilometer in distance. So by looking at them, you can determine what they're tracking by distance.
That's insane. That's insane. So the size changes depending on the mission that they're doing.
The can I go back? Yeah. So the type 3 is this a data network down here. So they're the smallest. And then you got the larger variants of the same technology. So then obviously you got the relays, which are basically like network amplifiers. They will link up microwave linked over topology. Then it will link to a type 2 relay, which is local to the type 1 V formation. And then depending on the actual formation of this will determine where the target is. So for example, in this formation here, the target is where it is. It's upwards 1 o'clock. But if the triangle is flat, then what it's actually doing is it's tracking something vertical directly upwards. So by the positioning of the formation, you can determine which direction the target actually is.
So the end point of this triangle here on the type 1,
Yeah,
if that's pointing up or wherever that's pointing, that's where
that's where it is. Yeah.
right. Okay.
So here's examples of this. This was over the UK. And here you have the type 1 V formation right here and the type 2 at the back. And in this case, the target, well, this was just come online. So this is swooping upwards. This is about to go up to about here. This was taken in 1971 in Canada. Again, you have the same V formation here. This is in the other formation. This is in the horizontal configuration where the triangle is flat. So you have the type 2 here and the 3, the V formation here. And in this situation, the target is directly above. This is another example over Florida. You got the type 2 relay right here, type 1 V formation right here. And again, due to its positioning, you can determine the target direction, which is 1 o'clock. Here's another one. This is over, can't even say that, where that is. You got the type 1 V formation right here, type 2, and this is the sorceress chasing.
Is that a real picture?
Yeah.
I seen that in the book. I wasn't sure what that was, but that's a color version there. Why is that? Is that supposed to be a saucer, a real saucer?
Yeah.
I've never seen that picture before.
This one here is another one. This was taken off a cruise ship. Again, you've got the type 2 and the type 1 V formation right here. So the same formations keep, this process is all over the world and it keeps repeating. This is another one over Barcelona, Spain. Type 1 V formation right here, type 2 relay right here. This is its daisy chaining. So the network is this direction. So it's linking down to the type 3s and the buildings down here. And it's linking across. And then in this formation, it's again 1 o'clock. And this here is a cluster of examples I've collected. So again, you've got the type 2 here, the type 1 V formation, which means the target is 3 o'clock. This one here, you got the type 2s, 2 type 2s right here, the V formation right here, and the target is 1 o'clock. Again, same here, type 2, type 1 V formation, 1 o'clock. Type 2 right here, V formation right here, which means the target is actually facing, is behind us. This one here over Italy, you've got the type 2s, they're here and here, the V formation right here. And then that one is in horizontal configuration, so the target is directly above. Then you've got this one here as well, same again, and same again, all the same. So yeah, this is why I say is that this data is the only UAP data out there that is replicatable. It's the only thing out there that replicates.
I do have one question. It's like if these models are correct, what's the next logical step? Like
How do you mean?
to independently verify or disprove these different types of classifications and what your research has found. What do we do next, basically, to verify your work?
Well, these formations here are operating up in the atmosphere. According to my model, are operating up in the atmosphere, and hopefully Beatrice can look at her data and find it.
Yes. I bet your jaw dropped when you heard that about Beatrice.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
Because you were the first person that came to my
yeah.
mind when this honestly I was like, oh, I bet Patrick Jackson is all over this. That's
So
why I
this is
reached
what they're
out to you.
doing. So this is what they're doing. Here we've got some videos for you. So I'll send you this video. Or actually, I can play it. Hold on.
Try and play it if you want.
Yeah, I'll play it. Sorry. Here we are. Downloading.
I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there.
Right.
I can hear it. I've got yeah, I can see it now, yeah.
So this is an example of an intercept.
I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. I don't know if you can
Now, right here, you can see the two spheres coming in.
see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. See it?
Oh, what's happened? It's locked. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on here. A 10-inch light bridge made by Mead. I'm going to be filming that planet just right there. Okay, now check this out. I've never seen this before, and I'm actually surprised my phone's doing this. But check this out. Oh my god.
Now you see here, you see the formations, the triangle.
Yeah. There's
See
another one
that?
above it as well. It looks like there's another one above. Yeah, there. Yeah.
Yep, there's the type 2. And then you got the triangle right here. This is the formation that is horizontal formation, which means the target is above or below. And that right there is the target getting blown up.
Something just blew the hell up. It was orbiting, and now it blew up, and it's in outer space, and it's no longer there.
That's some insane footage there.
Now, if the data is correct, Beatrice should be able to spot these up in the upper atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? When was this recorded? Did you say? Did I miss that?
Oh, I've got a video here somewhere. I've got the video date somewhere.
Something's just been obliterated,
So the thing
it looks
is,
like.
yeah. So the thing is that this is actually fairly common. Let me show you. So this was filmed in my own back garden. And what you see is these flashes deep in space. You see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Right here. And that's not an airplane, that's way up deep in space. You can barely see it. And this is my night scope. Yeah. And these flashes are those explosions occurring.
And what have you got a theory what they are?
They're external craft coming in and they're being intercepted.
Oh, so you're saying it's potentially a threat that's coming in, and these are destroying them?
That's right. This is the Sphere network is a global defense network, and so they're intercepting other craft that are coming here.
What? That's what, is this? Have I missed? I've not got to that part. Have I? Is that in this book? I've not got to
Yeah,
that part of it yet.
the
That's
math here.
insane. So that them explosions could potentially be protecting us, and we've
So
got no idea. Or could
if
it
we
be
go back
like
to the math,
asteroids and stuff like that?
yeah, if we go back to the math, it proves it because these formations are doing a thing called trilateration, which is a high resolution targeting system.
Wow.
And then you have obviously video images of the spheres chasing down UFOs constantly, different formations. And then obviously you got the video of it of them blowing up.
You'll have to send me that footage. That's insane. That footage. And that with the flashes. See, I've had my own experiences with not quite as fast as that, where I've had like a response to me trying to communicate myself from someone that told me to try something, and it's worked a few times. And I've got three flashes out of nowhere. It's not a satellite. It's not a plane. Couldn't explain it. Don't know what it was. And that's in the last couple of years. Those experiences, and that's before anything like Jake Barber and anything came out of it.
And if you look closely in this video here, you'll see how much movement is actually going on. Let me show you. So not only is this going off here, this is moving here as well. There's also
Yeah.
movement up here somewhere as well. So there's
And
a
these
lot of
have been
movement
ruled out as
here as
being
well.
satellites. These can't be satellites that's moving across the sky. Have you ruled that out? Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but all I can say is that the sphere network itself models out to be a high resolution intercept system. And then when you're seeing videos of these objects being exploded in space, and then when you have video of multiple objects being blown up in space as well, like such as that, it all pretty much adds up.
This has to be an ultra-terrestrial thing. Then they have a clear like concern for the planet.
So yeah, this as I spent in the book, let me just get my share off. So yeah, in the book, it formulates a model of how this is all operating. So what it appears to be is that there's an ultra-terrestrial group that live here, and they've lived here forever, before our time. And what's happened is that they live underground or inside mountains. Um, from what I can tell, it's about 500 feet because as skinwalker, they are digging down 500 feet and finding artificial objects or artificial materials that appear to be, could be walls of a building kind of thing. So what it appears to be is that they live underground, and what's happening is that they've built the sphere network, and so the sphere network is defense level 1 and 2. They're the first and second line of defense. And then we're on the surface of the planet, which makes us the third line of defense. We play a role in this whole system, and we guard the gates of the ultra terrestrials. So that's really how it models out. Because the main thing that humanity is good at is being violent,
Mm.
especially irrationally violent. And if you look at the world as a skill set, the most common skill set that everybody has is the ability to be very, very violent.
So
And
let's say this three-eye atlas is something technological.
mhm.
In theory, then that's going to get blown out the sky by these.
In theory, or if it's, I mean, it could be allowed through. I mean, we don't know.
Mm.
There could be some sort of event coming up that will be forced disclosure, one way or the other.
Yeah. Do you think they know about this? Do you think if this is actually what's going on, that the people that are in control of this secret, they know that this is going on, then they probably know the reason why. And but why?
Well, I think the sphere network is very observable from space. So it wouldn't surprise me if the spy satellites and so forth have seen this for a long, long time. Um, is there the other question is there a relationship with the ultra terrestrials that live here? Most likely there is, and it sounds like there is. According to Trump, I mean, it sounds like Trump knows, but he says it's not my decision, which means it's their decision to come forward, right? Which means that they probably just don't want to know us.
Yeah, that's interesting because he was asked, should we be scared? And he said, no, shouldn't be scared. But he just can't tell you. He said he'd like to tell you, but I can't. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's we're looking at some people look at it the wrong way. It's like it's not the government. It's like the extraterrestrials or ultra-terrestrials. It's
Mm.
potentially saying, listen, you just can't do it, and
Yeah,
that's it.
because in the same way that we don't really, you know, we don't allow primates into our domain, really. I mean, like it's not as if they can get a job
Mm.
or work or anything or be any use to us other than
Maybe
being
maybe the
zoo.
training in the background. Maybe they're doing some sort of hybrid experiments, getting people upgraded that we don't know about. Maybe for the future.
Well, the way I see it moving forward is that once we kind of realize what our role is, we can adapt to it quite easily. But the thing is that we really need to up our game. So the thing is that the only way forward for humanity really is to fuse with AI. So what it does, it can the human brain will become like the manager, and then the AI will become the processor. So it allows everyone to get up to an IQ level of around about 200, 300. And I think that would be the best thing really moving forward, because you and when you're in that mindset, then you become much more compatible with other groups. You see, the we don't talk to primates because we can't relate to them. We don't want to deal with them. It's probably the same with them. That if their IQ level is around 300, 400, they don't want to speak to us. We're just these shaved monkeys, really. We have there is nothing that we can really offer them.
The thing is, that
Um,
what do they need us for?
well, we're the third line of defense.
So that's
Yeah,
potentially what our purpose is.
yeah.
We're just a line
And
of
in fact,
defense.
I do theorize that originally it was the dinosaurs, because the dinosaurs were highly animalistic killing machines, right? Really good predators. So if you want something to guard the surface of the earth and while you live underneath it, that's the perfect killing machine. But it's highly likely that um, due to their animalistic nature and predatory nature, they were probably chasing the ultra terrestrials down as well. So they thought, okay, well, maybe we need something a bit more rational. So they killed them off and with a replacement.
And this model doesn't fit with anything like with the Anunnaki or anything like that. Doesn't fit with any of the other theories and stuff of the past. Do you not think? No.
I don't know. I mean, I just stick to what I kind of put together through following the data. I
Mm.
mean, all these other ideas, a lot of it is, maybe a lot of it's very, comes from just assumption. But I'm just following the model, and that's what it appears to be.
I can see why it causes a big stir. I really can, but I'm really fascinated with it, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of people will be. I'm not a religious person. I believe in a God. I think there's a God. I just don't tie it to any religious book. And I've only started believing in God over the last couple of years through my own research and
Mm.
coming to a conclusion that there has to be something that's created this. It's too perfect. But I just don't tie it to any religious book. I haven't got the time to go through all those religions to make my decision. That's the thing. That's my view on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think there's like an ultimate goal? Do you think that this is why we're seeing a speed up of AI at the minute because we're losing control of it very quickly. Like I use AI every single day now, just for little things. Like it's becoming part of my life very quickly. It's where how long will it take before it's I need it? Like I need my mobile phone. I need AI. I can't do anything without AI. We're probably getting on that. We're probably only a year or two away from that,
Oh yeah,
being
really.
dependent on it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I've got a question for you actually. This is going to be insane. It's an email. I got an email from someone that was. They give me a heads up about Beatrice's papers days before it came out, so I know that I can trust this person with certain things. But they asked me a question to ask you. It could be a good day, it could be, I don't know, it could be a nothing burger. So he's asked me, he said, he may know what you were talking about, but a little over a year ago, I saw an episode of Cosmic Road where Jack discussed the Sphere Network and Patrick Jackson. Then he mentioned his paranormal work and an incident in which I believe it was a friend of Patrick's used a proton light, which Patrick sells. It is supposed to show spirits. Supposedly, the guy used it and freaked the F out. He
Hmm.
saw something that disturbed the hell out of him. The guy fled his house and went to his friend's place. I think he said the guy went to the hospital after having a breakdown. Don't know if it's true, but if it is, I'm dying to know and would make great conversation. Hope all is well. Well,
Yeah. So I also designed and built some what we call dog whistles. Um, and I released one a few months ago, but there's also another version which is like a strobe, and it's a coded strobe. So what it's designed to do is not only just to alert kind of like the Sphere network itself, but also it allows the way it works. It can penetrate adaptive stealth. So what it means is if something is using some sort of visual stealth, it can burn through it. So what it means is that when these things come up close to it, you can see them. Yeah.
but it's true.
Yeah.
That story's true then, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit. And so who was the guy? What happened? Did he just see something and then did he explain what he
He was really
seen?
interested. He was saying that he was getting some sort of paranormal effects in his house. And he's I think he's an engineer as well, so he's quite a bright guy. And he purchased one of the units, and he switched it on in his lounge, and he came back from the kitchen, and he saw two big guys with huge eyes staring at him, and it freaked him out so much that he ran out of his house and to a friend's house, and then because he was in such a state, he then booked himself into a mental home for a couple of nights.
Have you ever spoke about this on anywhere before?
Well, I mean, he went public about it a few years ago, a year or so ago. But it's not something I like to to give out there. But that's what people have seen.
Oh, I'm glad I asked. I'd love to see that device. I'd love to walk in my
Yeah,
kitchen and see these.
yeah. In fact, the image in the book, if you can get the book, you can see the guy.
Do you know the page?
I think it's ultra-terrestrial engagement. That's the one bit. I think it's right at the back.
The chapter.
Yeah.
Ultraterrestrial chapter 15, which
Yeah.
is 171. Let's have a look. I'm gonna try and finish this tonight. Is it this one here?
No, no. There. That one?
That one.
No, no, no. That's the actual strobe. Go forward a bit. No, next one.
Oh, and you're on about that.
That one. Yeah.
That's the one that I wanted to show you. That
Yeah.
there, I'll tell you what I see. I see it seems like two legs, it's split, and it's just got two big eyes. It looks like some sort of mantis slash grey sort of looking being. Yeah, it is. That is a weird one there for
And
people.
that's a still from a video. So you actually see it come down, walk towards us, look
There's a
down.
video to that.
Yeah.
Where's that? Have you got that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you not play that now?
I have to find it.
Or just send it me and I'll add it at the end of the video.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's everything if you want to end it there. And we can
Yeah,
maybe catch up sometime. It's getting late now and stuff like that. I know
Yeah.
that you
I mean, I can if you want, be good to I mean, there's a place in Manchester that I want.
Now, I've just had to do a little edit there because Patrick told me something in the interview which was quite fascinating. However, he asked for it not to be put into the interview, and out of respect, I cut it out for him. However, even though it's cut out, it does not mean that in the future we will not find out what that part is that we have cut out. Hopefully, me and Patrick will be able to go and look at something, and and then hopefully we might be able to give that information out there. But for the time being, he doesn't want to release that information because basically the internet is a horrible place, and I totally get it. So that's why that little bit of edit was a bit thing. Now back to the rest of the video. I think we should do something like get multiple content creators and go and spend like 24, 40 hours or whatever. How long do you think we need to do to
I
get
would say
some sort
3
of
days.
document, some evidence
3 days. Yeah.
on a big scale?
3 days. 3 days.
3 days. Yeah, but we can sort some out with 3 days.
And
And I've looked at the book where it shows the map. I'm an hour and a half away from at least four of them.
mhm.
East Drive's the closest one. So the one that I think there's 19 miles gap between East Drive and the next one, and then you've got the one in Hull. I'm only an hour and 20 minutes or something from that, so it's not like I could be there in an hour and a bit. That's it. It's not far
That's
at all.
interesting. When last time I was at the study Strive, do you remember the meteorites exploding over UK a few 2 years ago?
Vaguely.
Yeah. So that night there was the three major poltergeist effects all happened in the same area. And I know when that happens, it means the network is being used, right? Because it's causing the signals and emissions and whatever, it's causing actions. And now's the night those meteorites exploded over the cities. So I think the network was actually dealing with that.
Oh, that's interesting. Do
Yeah,
you think is there any footage? Do you
there
think there's
is.
any
I'm sure
footage
there's
showing
some of it.
anything that
Oh
backs up
yeah,
what you?
there's footage of the stuff of that night, stuff going on, and then there's footage of the meteorites going over the UK. Yeah,
Wow.
but
I
you
think
know,
that I think what we need to do before like is people need to obviously go and give them a follow on X. You are on YouTube. What's your YouTube platform?
oh god, I have one, but I hardly use it.
I'll
It's
I'll find it. I will add it in
yeah,
there.
it's quantum paranormal, that
And
one.
that you're potentially
Um,
going to create a TikTok, yeah?
yeah, I'll give it a
Give it a
go.
go, and we can get drive some traffic to you. Because the thing is as well, it's good for lives,
Hmm,
and it's not full of hate as X and stuff like that, which I find there's a lot of toxic stuff on hate on X. TikTok's a lot friendlier, and there's a big community now on the UFO topic. It's a massive community on X on TikTok.
mhm.
You'll be surprised. You'll think, why didn't I do this sooner? And I've tried to get many people. I've got Ashton Forbes onto TikTok. I
Yeah,
got Jason Sands onto
mhm.
TikTok. Lenville Logan came over to TikTok. So I've helped persuade quite a few people to come over to TikTok, and they've enjoyed it. And Ashton Forbes now has got like nearly 60,000 followers in a quite
Oh, okay.
short space of time because it does throw the videos out there if you're interested. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
a point. You and Ashton, have you spoke?
No, really. The I looked at the MH360 videos when they first came out, and in my head, all I could see was graphic issues. Um, yeah, and it's not real. The footage itself isn't real, and the thing is that there's been a lot of professional video editors to have said the same thing. You can actually see the retinal going over or going or the plane going through the retinal as well, which means it's a special effect. Oops.
That's
So
it.
I think
He's another person that I really like, Ashton. I'm unsure about the MH370 stuff,
mm,
but the rest of the stuff he shares, like the patents and the stuff that is real, I'm really fascinated in that. I just think people just tarnish him with the MH370 and don't listen to him, which I think they're missing out on because I think he's a really fascinating guy.
mm,
And I will be chatting to him soon enough. We keep speaking about trying to sort it out, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, but that said, something weird did happen to that plane, and there are enough satellites up there to see what happened and where it happened and where it crashed. I mean, the spy satellites all over the area. So, but the fact that there is a data blackout means that something did happen. Also, the fact that the thing is a lot of stuff on planes floats. Like luggage floats, for example. If it hit the water, it will be all over the ocean.
mm,
So it's not like so yeah, something did strange happen to the plane, but the actual video itself, that is not legit. However, it does look like it was made with someone who knew about the spheres before they really got mainstream. So because they are performing similar formations, but the actual video itself appears it could even be a recreation. You
yeah.
know, it could be that. So who knows? But the actual video itself is a fake one. Yeah.
You look tired, pal. I'm gonna let you go in a second.
All
Don't worry.
right.
He looks. I've been like, I need a top up. I've been drinking a bit of gin tonight and everything. I went live because you were running a bit late. What did you like? The British time? Did you say UK time, British time? I thought we said.
Yeah, British time is summertime, and GMT I think is winter. I
To be
think.
honest,
I mean,
I thought it was the same thing. I don't know.
I thought it's the same thing as well.
I said to the missus, I went, "Oh, he said he's going to be 8 or something." She went, "GMT is British, you know." Like, I don't know. But
Yeah,
take me a
British.
drink out. It'll be up in an hour anyway. But yeah, no, thank you for coming up. And like I said, we will keep in touch because I do find you a fascinating guy. And
Yeah,
people,
cool.
please go and buy the book. It's worth it. It's only £10 of your kids' hard-earned inheritance money.
Yeah,
Thank you,
cool.
Patrick.
All right,
Have a
see you
good
later.
night.
Cheers, bye.
Take care.